NP. They've dealt with the Leshrac, and they were prepared for it with the adjustments in the draft. And we've seen crit as well on this Weaver. That's one thing that I haven't mentioned. This guy's insane on his Weaver. Like, we've seen so much of that impact in the group stage. So I'm sure he's going to get some work done here. At the very least, he's going to drain their economy with all of these sentries and dust that they might have to carry around.
Oh, look at this, John. They've snuck into the Radiant Triangle for a moment. They'll take the Watcher, but they will not stick around. Well, maybe they're trying to go for a little bit of a sneaky fight from the backside here against Falcons, but not quite.
I see lots of good digging spots.
Sit back and relax, go back towards their own high ground. We haven't really seen too much level 1 team fights breaking out here between these two teams. They have been rather conservative when it comes to the early game. If they do want to try for this third game, just make it absolute chaos to get things started. Look around here from Marine for the ward on the high ground on the Dire side. Crit's going to Sakuchi in. Insania is ready with the Frostbite if necessary, and Crit is pretty far forward. Instead that they go after ATF, and now Insania, he's the one going down way too quickly, and First Blood will be fed back the way of Crit.
It's a nice juicy morsel to find. They're going to be able to snag away the bounty rune as well. So they do end up with an even start. And Crit is still being chased though.
Thing is, ATF, he gets a Cinder Brew. Crit could activate it in 2. Boxi maybe taking a bit too much damage. Crit will be able to get away for now, and it seems as though ATF going to be okay. Crit will barely survive, by the way.
It's a lot of damage. Crit, he's just going to try to eat through the tangos. You do have Thirst already on Micke, so he's going to feel a little bit better. So some movement, some attack speed to play with in the lane. Not too much to really bring it to his favor already. Again, a very strong start for Falcons. This lane for Liquid with Insania on the CM, along with Micke, of course, in the bloodseeker, is a very stable lane. Like, you can do a lot with just Frostbite into the Bloodright down the line. The Brewmaster's a little bit tougher to squish down, but you've got the Sentry ready on Insania. If Crit oversteps, he's a very easy target to squish.
Boxi does get caught out. Sneyking able to secure the kill. Of course, you cannot underestimate the amount of damage Rocket Barrage can deal level 1. And the Sneyking already getting to the head of Boxi, and you want to do that against this guy as well, because Boxi last game around, he set up so many kills in the first 10 minutes. You really do want to start to get into the psyche of this guy.
Yeah, this time around, Boxi's not going to be able to leave this lane as he did in the last game. The Night Stalker's not as self-sufficient. Skitter is going to have room to be able to try to bully out or just free farm. Snaking's going to have magic damage to deal with Night Stalker as well. So this is a lane Boxi actually has to camp in, and that's going to provide more space out for Ammar and more aggression here.
This is a lot of damage Saberlight's way. Snaking's going to cut him off again, but the problem is he is out of mana. It was the Rocket Barrage, so will not be able to continue. Again, Saberlight kind of hopping the short end of the stick here as they do just continue to focus on him in this laning stage, and it's not the easiest start for him either.
No, it's a rougher go. Again, Boxi's forced to stay in this lane, which difference from game 2, top lane's not under as much pressure, and that just frees up room for Falcons to breathe, play their own game. Getting that build-up you'd want on Skitter, the mid lane matchup as well. For Maul Arena, something that we used to see a lot of in the DPC, and it disappeared for a while, but it's back. Just Pangolier, Leshrac, classic matchup. Nisha's doing a fine job of controlling it, but you're not going to lose out on too much on Maul Arena. And that is good news. I think the last time around, Nisha was getting maybe a little bit more on that Wind Ranger around. Maul Arena shouldn't be held off.
The actions. Be at the lane there for a moment. Top lane, Micke copping it here from ATF, and it is very tough against this duo. Like the Cinderbrew plus the Sakuchi to activate, it can be very, very annoying to try and go against. Especially if you're the CM Insania, like you will just melt to the damage output that they can deal. Nisha having another very good game in the mid lane so far. Top of the CS board on the Leshrac. The question the panel had as well is why would you give this guy Leshrac again as top lane? Micke, did he get jumped? In fact, they might just go after Insania as the easier target, but no, Micke is the one dropping. Here comes Boxi from the rear, trying to go on to Crit. Crit is still trying to fight back against Insania because he has no way out. And he will go down as Boxi with another successful rotation on the Prophet.
Finally finds the room to get that movement out with the NP. And you're at the point where Saberlight, he's forced to solve up in lane, but it's durable enough that he can stand on his own, at least has the bracer to pad. That leads to activity onto the mid as well, and this is when we saw those leaning issues kick in for Falcon. How much can Boxi be allowed to leave? Can they fully punish this Night Stalker? And you've got decent damage here with Sneyking and Skitter, but the Night Stalker is still a pretty tick target, even though he doesn't have the most regen. He is very hard to burst down.
Certainly is.
The seeds of fortune.
Both mid laners will be able to pick up their respective water
Radiant's
rune.
courier is dead.
Boxi is going to rotate back towards the bottom lane, but I doubt there's too much he can do here on the Prophet. Obviously, probably looking for an opportunity up top when it does show. Crit's still trying to be a nuisance up at the top lane against Insania, but a nice setup with the Frostbite into the Blood Ride, and Crit has already committed the Sakuchi, so Boxi now can come in, and Crit will drop once again.
Bloodbath.
It's just the presence of the Prophet every single time you've overextended. If Insania can set up like that, Boxi, he can just come in for that added damage, and it's just so tough to get away.
I mean, Insania's ready. He has a good amount of sentries set out every single time that Sakuchi kicks in. Just the Frostbite into Blood Ride combination, and it's a really simple kill. It doesn't take too much to melt through that Weaver. I love that Liquid understand this opening. Ammar, there's only so much he can do to help outside of the offensiveness that they can try with a Cinder Brew. And Liquid starting to find a really strong foothold in this game. First Nighttime kicks in as well, so Saberlight can trade a little bit more on that Night Stalker as well while he's left solo. Although they'll try to make a move now.
They will give it a crack. Saberlight underneath his tier 1 tower, but is surrounded by 3 heroes, and Saberlight, he's got no helping cup. They will let the Night Stalker die. It'll be a very strong pick-off here for the side of Falcons.
It's a nice one to pick up. Giving it over to Skitter, having this room to pressure in that bot tower as well, which is almost the same move we saw in the last game. Just having, or in the first game where Skitter was playing that Naga, they just had a lot of room to get that ball rolling from the safe lane. They're setting that tempo here.
Well, sneyking getting maybe a little bit too excited, does move right in, thinking that Saberlight was not going to TP in, but he certainly does. Thing is, sneyking is still not down, but Boxi will TP in, and Saberlight, he will be gifted a free kill on his way in.
They find something for their trouble. They take the good move here in Falcons to just back off. That is more time being dragged onto bot. Rather interesting in this game that, again, we're seeing this mid not be emphasized as much in comparison to most of the games we see from Falcons. And basically, Malrine and Nisha just left alone to farm. No pressure even on the towers. At some point, we would want to see some movement out from Malrine. He does have that timing of the Blightstone into the Fusel Blade next, and that's going to be a good kicking point for them to start to play around. They drag both supports in. Could find this opening onto Boxi or the tower.
Yeah, absolutely. Boxi. This will fly out. Looks like they will just focus on the tier 1 tower. The siege creep has been left alive, and Falcons, they want to try and get as much value out of the siege creep as possible. Actually, keeping it alive with the creep wave as well. So Boxi, he is sticking around, but it's just so much damage being dealt back the way of this mid-tier 1 tower. But Nisha is going to be forced back into the mid lane. I'm sure it does remain defended. Not allow Boxi to really have the solo XP here, as Boxi does TP back towards the Wisdom Room, but Crit was waiting in the wake. So Boxi, he's going to try for perhaps a deny against the Ancients. Crit, he does time it perfectly though. He will pick up the kill.
A nice little pickup for him. Gets the Wisdom Room anyway, gets the freebie kill. Boxi trying to dance around. Instead just gives another freebie out to the Weaver, who's had a little bit of an up and down game. It is opening space with all of this movement onto the mid. For the side lanes, you're getting some decent build-up coming out here. For Micke, you're also getting that room that you want to see out for Skitter on the side of Falcons. Ammar, he hits his level 6, but he's just going for that usual Hand of Midas build into the Radiance that Hannah was talking about. He just wants space, and so far all the heroes that need space are finding it. And that's just going to lead to an arms race into these early timings. Something like the chest or the arm lift coming out here for Skitter. The Bloodstone timing for Nisha to try to find from mid.
Malrine gonna fight for this power rune at the 8-minute mark. Nisha will be able to pick up the illusion. Boxi was there just in case. They have some very deep vision, so Malrine, he's going to jump in on Boxi. Boxi was put underneath the Radiant vision as well. The Prophet, though, is able to walk out. Rupture was committed. Malrine, he's going to try for the Rolling Thunder TP away, and he's barely going to make it. 75 HP just about as mid lane. They are still chasing Nisha. Nisha will be able to stick charge up, but he's not looking too healthy. He'll bury fire, but it is not going to be enough. Sneyking to secure the kill. ATF looking for a little bit more value. Will continue chasing Insania and Micke as the tips are already flying out. Malrine having a great old time. Crit, he'll get jumped. They'll find a trade with the Weaver, but now Micke, he's going to find a way out. Boxi will at least get the sprout on ATF, not allowing the proper chase. And it seems as though Micke will be just fine. It is still a semi-decent trade here for the side of Liquid or Falcons, really.
Dire's middle tower's in trouble.
I'd say you're pretty happy with that on Falcons. Just saving your Pango, forcing out this bloodseeker to take part of these fights without any major atomization, taking away time. Whereas in comparison, Falcons, skitter secure down bot. No one's making moves onto the Wraith King. He's just allowed to build up. And he's under no pressure here to just keep playing with his skeletons and farming around the map. They still hold on to their objectives. That doesn't lead to anything from Liquid. And Equilibrium holds. Falcons are very pleased with that. They could try to go for more once again. The cooldowns aren't too long here on Falcons, and they will smoke up on the hunt.
Towards the bot lane, saberlight. You scan out. Well, we'll have the information necessary to potentially back off, though he does stick around skitter, so but revealing he is still around this area, perhaps not predicting the smoke that was incoming. You do have the T1 tower to rotate to if you do wish as Liquid, but it seems as though they are going to have to let Saberlight go. Saberlight will go down. Malrine able to pick up his first kill of the game here in the Pank.
Yep. Nice movement out. Scan maybe just a little bit too short. That looked like to clip them just going in and out of that mid lane instead of the full rotation. So nice move out from Falcons. Opens up again a little bit of a shove on that bot tier 1. The side of Liquid. Not being able to fight against that. They'll try onto Ammar.
Yeah, Rupture is committed. ATF, he's a tanky guy. He's still by his tier 1, so they just can't really deal with him. ATF just stands there and takes it. Now, double bases are up, so it is pretty rough to get through his HP pool.
Yeah, just having the Drunken Brawler up. You don't get pinned down for too long there. Maybe a bit optimistic on Liquid, but knowing that Rolling Thunder's down, you don't really have anyone else to try to pin down anyway. Might as well just try to go for the opportunity, go back to farming for Micke. Falcons, again, they're just ramping up themselves. And this really boils down to how comfy are your mid in playing. We've seen Malrine take it more.
Sprout is out. Boxi trying to chase him down, but the Sprout doesn't really lock Skitter in. And, well, he had a Quelling Blade anyway, so he probably would have been just fine. Very hard to initiate with the Prophet here onto the Wraith King. But if you are Liquid, you have a siege creep down to that bottom lane. You've got a few heroes around. You might be able to start pressuring that bottom tier 1 tower. Seems like Boxi will leave the area. But a little bit of pressure to be up.
Yeah, just a shove in. Good vision to enable this push out from Liquid as well with Boxi rotating. A little bit optimistic to try to make any big plays at this moment. Everyone's just farming up. You will trade that shove down bot for more than likely the full mid tower here. Fortify is still around, and Nisha does have the running haste here. Well, is going to be able to stave off. No one willing to commit too big. And again, the big timer for both sides that's the most immediate is likely on the mid. Maybe a little bit more on Saberlight as well if he's willing to go with the Echo Saber. Like, that's where the activity is going to kick in. He's got the defuse already on Malrine. Theoretically, he should be set to go to look for some plays here.
Bottom tower needs a hand.
Now he will not. They throw a homing missile out onto Nisha, but they won't be able to quite get there. Malrine going to find himself a nice arcane rune, and it seems as though Boxi might be the one to get hunted down, as he will try for a TP play up. Of course, there will be no cancel here from Crit. Boxi will be just fine. Does mean that they remain 6-4 here. Oh, Boxi, whoopsie daisies, has ended up in the tree line.
It's fine.
He's alright.
And cut it down. He's a happy lad. Not going to be stuck for long, fortunately. And Falcons and Liquid stuck in equilibrium this game, at the very least. Good forward wards this time around from Falcons to scout into that top jungle and defend their position here for the Wraith King farming by the bot tier 1. Otherwise, no activity. Poking and prodding mid. We should be inching towards that point where you're comfy. Maybe they just want to connect now. But when Ammar is ready to go, which is still a ways off, does have the Midas. Pings out onto Ammar.
They're going to try again for ATF. ATF going to just pop the split immediately, not wasting any time. Will not be willing to risk his life. Because you do force out the split at the least here as Liquid, so you may be happy to force a fight across the map. That fight might be happening in the mid lane very, very soon, because Malrine is moving in onto Nisha. They want to try for the left. They miss out on him, instead trying towards Saberlight. Snaking's the one being hunted though, and Sneyking, he will go down as Liquid. It's not the biggest kill in the world, but it is certainly something.
It is something, considering all this downtime. Just finding that pickoff is... it's satisfactory inside of Liquid. They are starting to get some good... expand their good vision here on Falcons, setting up on that mid lane behind the tier 1 now. And we are starting to hit that timing that we're looking for from Nisha. Bloodstone being built up. Boxi playing tag still with Ammar, but not the easiest target to pin down. The big concern is really probably the core differential now, with Skitter having so much more farm in comparison. Just from having those skeletons running around, he's got the Desolator queued up, not too far off. Whereas micke, he's gonna go, he has the Maelstrom, he's going into the BKB. But even with a BKB, bloodseeker jumping forward at that point, it's not necessarily the most damage, it's not necessarily the best sustain as well. So it does feel like you're still going to be relying more on Nisha to take the point with that Bloodstone. Again, the Leshrac without the Omni-Knight is going to be a different story.
boxi, that's spotted here by ATF. No way to cancel the TP though, so is he going to be okay to retreat? Group up back into the mid lane here. Maureen's going to find boxi now by the looks of it, and Crit is going to move into boot. boxi going to find out the hard way. They do have vision on that high ground. Very hard to deward though, because Crit has literally just been camping the area for quite a while, and you see Insania ready to deward, but he knows he can't close the gap. micke, even having his farm stolen, Crit just getting as much value as possible.
And that's what makes Crit's Weaver so damn annoying. We've seen it so much in the group stages there as well. Just makes the lanes win, and then he's just this massive nuisance that you have to invest support gold into, to cancel off, to just counteract. One thing for Liquid as well that's a cause of concern is the fact that they have not made progress in the tier 1s. In fact, Saberlight by that tier 1.
And will get stunned up. Swashbuckle is there. Saberlight is also going to be purged, so there's really no hope out. He'll get knocked down to the low ground at the least. Pops the ulti as well, and he's going to go for a run. The Swash apparently doesn't do much damage. The Night Stalker is going to be just fine. Mid lane, Insania will be chased here by Crit. The ward is still on that high ground, so they have plenty of vision, but this time Crit will punish, but a nice time lapse. He will be all right. Surely this ward does get rewarded now.
I mean, it has to go at some point. No sentry up on Insania. It is within vision. They'll be able to take it out. There is still this nice ward right in front, in between where the tier 1 and tier 2 is, so there's still some information for Falcons to play with.
The movement of Crit, it's just such aggressive positioning throughout this whole game on the Weaver. It's kind of like you mentioned, this is what he's famous for when it comes to this boss for Weaver. It's just the constant aggression, the constant vision gain for his team, the information he provides, and just a real nuisance again. Just steals your camp sometimes, just soaks some XP, just as annoying as he possibly can be.
Yeah, and it just disrupts your gameplay on the side of Liquid. Like, they're not able to shove in any of these waves. They're not able to go forward tier 1s. They're not able to really cross the river at any point. And they're just kind of stuck waiting. Mind you, they've got the Bloodstone up on Nisha, so that's one early timing. He's going into the Veil next. That should give them some confidence to start playing in to what the side of Falcons have. Echo Saber as well, ready to go on Saberlight. Great.
Light is out, Saberlight going to move out. Silence is there as well, the Weaver. Have some help around. It was just snaking, but they will leave him be. It will drop. Everyone else just TPs up. ATF not interested in staying around that top lane any longer.
No need to force it for the side of Falcons. I mean, they know some of these early timings are up on Liquid with some of the inventories they've seen. They still need Ammar to finish up the Radiance for that forward presence to cut off some of that right-click damage Saberlight might want to leverage. And maybe some of those early protective items, or at least the early Deso for Skitter, which is still being built up, blacking the Blightstone, not too far off. Once you can melt that Leshrac, that's where things can open up. And that is the question as well, is the Leshrac durable enough with just the Bloodstone without something like the Omni-Knight to save? It doesn't feel like it would be, but you amp him up, maybe with a Blood Rage for some spell amp, it could be still a massive risk to jump into.
Top lane, a bit of a group up here from Liquid. Towards ATF on the Brewmaster. ATF running right towards Saberlight. They'll make the jump in now. Rupture committed as well with the Frostbite and the Freezing Field just in case. ATF will melt. Skitter, he did try to rotate. In fact, they are going to try and force a fight. boxi is the target. It's not exactly a great trade for the side of Falcons, but they will have to just take it. boxi still on the run. Meanwhile, Insania being chased by sneyking on the other side. Like boxi gets a sprout off, creating plenty of space. Insania the first one to drop on the CM as boxi still juking around, but Skitter, he can smell him in the tree line. boxi now running towards the north, but really has no... Oh, hold on a minute. Never mind. Skitter's got him. In fact, Crit was the one to take the kill.
Yeah, and the Gossamer's Cave coming a little bit clutch there, but Crit will find a kill at really some space to shove in mid. And a good sequence of events for Falcons overall, but Liquid, they equalize. They finally find a tier 1 tower. With the Deso up and Skitter though, that opens up Roshan. And with a secondary life to threaten with, they can start to force some of these bigger fights. They know some of the tools available on Liquid at this point. They've got the ward to protect this take of Roche. They can try to invade that top area, maybe force out into a tier 2, or just go hunting.
Roshan will drop very freely here. The side of Falcons, but unable to really contest or pretty much about it. Falcons will take the Aegis Skitter. Want to pick it up here on the Wraith. He's got multiple lives now on this guy. The Blink Dagger is going to be the next item build up on Skitter. So going full aggressive mode now. It's Team Liquid. To play the slow game once again. Like you never really want to fight into the multiple lives of the Wraith King. They'll have to sit back and relax for a little bit unless they find a real prime fight. Falcons, they might start pressuring that top tier 2 tower. Things are coming out. Oh, Nisha. They could see him if they could hold him down for a little bit. The Leshrac would be the primary kill that you could ask for here if you are Falcons. They will not be able to get that lockdown we talked about, and Falcons doesn't seem like they're really too interested in committing for the tier 2 yet. Keeping that farm going, and speaking of farm, ATF now has the full Radiance available.
That's going to be one big piece for them to reveal in these bigger fights. Just the constant burn damage on top, the miss chance, especially in something like the Night Stalker and the Bloodseeker this game. Don't have any ways of sorting through that just yet. And BKB up and micke at the very least can help. But once that shortens down, Ammar's presence will be felt. Safe shove up on the tier 2. They've got some forward vision now as well on Falcons to scout behind that little jacuzzi box up top. Liquid finally getting room to cross the river. Saberlight getting that farm himself. This blink timing on the Night Stalker is going to be the big one. We heard the panel talk about it. Having the crippling fear, you're not going to care for stat resistance. With no BKB on Ammar, he is going to be sitting duck from that initiation from Saberlight. And the Brewmaster is one big tool in preventing it.
Oh, Boxi barely able to get away from the Tormentor. I think he's going to be alright. Nisha's going to have to be the one to tank it, and he will be able to do so. This fight, chance will go the way of Boxi. And
These all belong to me.
got to take their Tormentor with Falcons. They'll leave theirs for now. Not too interested in trying to force it. They're just much more interested in the net worth lead, and it's such an even game. Like, less than 1k lead the way of Liquid. It could really go either way in that next fight. The only real advantage Falcons has right now is the fact that the Aegis is still up on skin.
It still has a lot of time. And again, the side of Falcons are playing rather conservatively, not fully forcing in the issue onto any objective. Just more than happy to take their time, more than happy to play this farming game, which Liquid is also satisfied with. Getting some shove out, not even having to expend this BKB and micke at any single point just yet. Smoke finally out from Falcons though. They don't have vision on that bot side they're crossing into, but they run into someone on the way to the line.
At mid, no, Falcons not going to find the opening they're looking for. Perhaps through the mid-river they can go. Still hanging around the Dire Triangle, looking for the opening, but Liquid seem to have an idea that they are around this area, so they'll go for a counter smoke into the mid lane. Now Falcons have left the area. Not too interested in sticking around without their own smokes. They'll just leave to the high ground, get in that position. Maureen, though, may get caught in the pango. The jump is in. The Silence is now Maureen barely able to swash away, but it's not going to be enough. He is gone. That's a start for Liquid. Falcons, I do not believe, want to stick around and fight. They immediately all TP up at sneyking. He'll be left behind. Saberlight will catch himself another fish. The sneyking will buy a little bit of time running towards the north, but understands he's not getting away. Micke will take another.
That is a really unfortunate swash there for Maureen. Looked like he might have been trying to aim at a weird angle onto the stairs. Ends up on this little cubby by the ramp and just gets picked off, giving the opening for Liquid. Finally getting some push out on that top tier 1 and getting to invade a little bit in that jungle. Falcons pretty scattered out. I mean, that smoke failing to get that information out.
Dunk is there. Micke, he's been caught here by Skitter. Forced the BKB up and just run. A little bit of value there from Falcons, at least getting the BKB forced from Micke, and you'll know that for 80 seconds that is down, and Falcons, they'll see if they can find the opening they're looking for, or maybe even just forcing this mid-tier 2 tower.
They've got the output. Skitter is starting to get hungry to build that Desolator up with charges. Maybe force this fight here.
Liquid, they're going to try and move in. ATF is the big target. He does have the primal split, but he's been silenced up. He's been given no chance to be able to pop this off. And ATF, he is down. They've even got the first life with the Wraith King. Keep in mind, he still has the Aegis. That'll be the secondary life. Can they get him a third time? Crit's going to try to move in to help out. Nisha, oh, Skitter, that's too much damage. That is too much damage.
Thanks for playing.
Just can't handle it. Like, the magic damage pumping out, all the right clicks in the world, the full Mjolnir, the attack speed for Micke to just rip the
poor
apart
old
with his
Snake.
shard.
Can he get away? No, he
No.
cannot. Sneyking will follow his carry. 4 down for Falcons, and Liquid and a triple kill to Micke.
That is just overwhelming coming out here on Liquid. Really confident from Falcons to just force that issue. Like, yes, they had a secondary life. You still don't have a way for Ammar to play once the silences are off. And once he's held in place, if he can't split, he can't have impact.
Look, that's one life. Let's go for the second. Look how quickly this melts. So Skitter just absolutely getting deleted. That's the second one. Let's go for a third, shall we, Skitter?
Power needs a hand.
Just no chance.
Just like that.
Absolutely zero chance of survival.
Just way too much output.
I think ATF's face says it all, John.
It's a rough goal for Falcons. Liquid, and just doing a great job of playing at the same pace that Falcons want to. They're willing to drop these tier 1 towers early. They sit back, they play it safe, they farm, and they come right at you with this Lesh. Like, Nisha is just looking insane. Micke looked insane last game. And it's this exact same timing almost. With Bloodstone, BKB, with the Veil to amp up even more output. It's such a hard hero to deal with. You need to have following around for this.
Oh, he's got Sneyking again. Pops the ulti just in case. Skitter's gonna run in. There's no reincarnate available. Skitter, this is such a risky play. His team is gonna show up, but Skitter is dropping. He's been silenced up. He'll armor toggle and survive for now. But again, no reincarnate available for 35 seconds. Meanwhile, Boxi still going. Does end up going down. Skitter will leave the area. Jump in from Saberlight. They found Maureen now. Maureen is gone. In fact, they even found Crit. The Weaver being caught by the frostbite of Insania. He will follow. Tips out for Saberlight, who's giving all the information his team needs. Just so valuable, this Night Stalker, and Saberlight just forcing him into such an awkward fight.
I mean, I'm just surprised Falcons are constantly forcing this issue. Skitter in particular. You mentioned it, he had no reincarnation. He almost drops. The reinforcements from Liquid are not, it doesn't take too long for them to connect from that area.
Well, here we go. This time they'll have reincarnate. Nisha, he's going to be the one to get jumped off. The stun is there. Nisha, he's a tanky target. He's going to try and fight through it. Pulse Nova out, Skitter, dropping low again. He is gone. Uh-oh, I've seen this one before. As Skitter, he'll come back in, but can he actually get out of this? It looks like he can. Reincarnate is down, but that's about it. Split as well, of course, as ATF trying to set up something for his team, but they do find Nisha again here with the Cyclone. Problem is, can you actually kill him? Nisha, he's fucked up. Maybe they could think about it. He'll pop the Bloodstone. He's still alive, still healing up as Saberlight. Here he comes. Here's the Giga Chat himself onto Maureen. Maureen is gone. Onto the Brewmaster. Oh, Micke is just cleaning up. An ultra kill for the Bloodseeker. And Falcons, they are desperately trying, but Liquid are just cleaning up as it could be a rampage up for Micke.
Oh my goodness!
And it will be. Falcons, what do you do? What do you do, Liquid? They are feeling it now.
Liquid are on point. Falcons, it's been mess after mess. 3 fights in a row, they're fighting fragmented in. They go chasing around without Maureen. What was the point of this Pango? To melt the mana of the Leshrac. They take this fight anyway. When they finally come in with a Lesh, they've already lost reincarnation. It's not adding up. None of these fights are adding up. They're forcing it back to back to back. And maybe this is where some of that experience of how long Liquid's been together, even with a stand-in situation, kicks in. They stay cool, they stay calm, they stay collected, play to the strengths of their lineup. And they just find that timing. Micke, a very happy boy, of course.
Faces of Liquid. And how can you blame them? How can you blame them? This game is well and truly in their control now with a 16k advantage. Falcons, they're going to go for another smoke up, another 5-man. They'll try again. 45 seconds till the reincarnates up, but they're not looking for a 5v5. They just want to pick off. They'll head towards the shield room. Maureen will take that one. Nisha was the primary target they were looking for, but he has left the area. And in fact, Roshan has respawned to boot. So Liquid, they will have first dibs.
Yeah, just dodge out this gank while they're at as well. Forward vision being dropped by Falcons. Smoke out from Liquid. They're on the wrong side of the map.
Dire's middle
Falcons,
tower
they
looks to be
can't afford to give this one away. But they will. Just no information. They can try shoving out. They can try setting up for the high ground defense. They only have that bot tier 2 tower left standing, trying to protect their bot or lane of racks as well. Only lane of racks if they can't quite go for the super creep just yet. I will have to say as well, looking at this build-up from Maureen, he did decide to go for something like the Satanic. The panel had some ideas, so...
ATF, Boxy's in with the Orchid out. He will use the Ogre Seal Totem to jump away. The scary thing about Boxy now, right? Like, he's got the Blink up, he's got the Orchid up, so you're never really safe when the Prophet comes in. No boots necessary here for this Prophet, just 4 Wraith Bands and Blink and Orchid. You love to see it.
That's the thing of beauty. That's Icebark's finest creation. Start on tier 2 doesn't take too long to melt. Output from Nisha is insanely high. And I'm just looking at these items. Like, I get the idea behind the Satanic. I get that you feel like these fights are going to take longer. You want to stay alive long enough to melt through the mana, to stay true with the Satanic. But we heard the ideas of the panel. You know, Winter was saying something like the Mage Slayer would have been useful. And just preventing some of that output from Nisha could have been one way to provide more durability out the skitter, especially pre-BKB. See if that BKB will make a difference down the line. Liquid not going to wait around, though.
Yeah, 3-man smoke up. Crit going to reveal himself in that tree line, but they want a bigger target. They're going to head south, and they do find Snake. Not quite a bigger target, but still going to be a one to start with as they head down towards the south. Further, they actually ended up finding ATF, who tries to TP away and barely makes it before Saberlight gets within range for the Void. But now they're onto that tier 3 bottom tower. Buyback was committed by sneyking. Liquid, do you want to stick around? 3.5 minutes left on the Aegis of Nisha. All they can hope to do is chip away at the Leshrac for now and let Liquid just leave. And I believe that's exactly what Liquid will do. They will just leave and wait for another day.
No rush here for Liquid. Still so much time left on that Aegis. They've got an amplified damage rune as well to find here. That's going to be really tasty, especially if they maybe decide to hand it over onto Nisha. Falcons, and they're trying to keep as much shoved away. They're getting that build-up they'd want to on Ammar, finally starting to work onto that BKB on that Brewmaster, needing a way to just safely split in the middle of these fights. It is going to be one way to get it done. But they've got some vision, at least, to watch that mid area. They've got some ways of trying to punish, maybe Boxy cutting some waves if he does decide to go for it. But catching out right now is just, it feels near impossible unless they're fully grouped up. And if they're fully grouped up, I mean, Liquid, they've got information in hand. They've got some nice awkward wards watching mid for any sort of smoke play, or any sort of peeking that the side of Falcons would want. Heck, on every lane, they've got a good forward ward. They've got a general idea if someone just steps away from the map, and it's just keeping them safe, just allowing them to take complete control. Full AC up on Micke. So much armor. That burst play now with the Desolator, it doesn't feel as feasible onto Nisha. It hasn't felt feasible. And with the Shiva's Guard and the AC, it's too much armor for Skitter to even consider jumping in. Like this Raid King, it doesn't hit hard. Even the supports are going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Crit does get dusted up. They will miss out on the Sprout. It will be able to Sukuchi away just fine. Meanwhile, bottom, there is a jump in. Saberlight, he found ATF on his own. It's a 1v1, but Saberlight is certainly at the advantage with this crippling V. He just continues to move in. ATF can split for this, and he is forced to. Saberlight finding value, now needs his own way out. With the Dark Ascension, though, he probably will just be fine to do so. In fact, he might even follow ATF and just keep up the vision. With the Twin Gates, Saberlight, where are we headed? He will get Cyclones up. Meanwhile, mid lane, Skitter getting jumped here by Nisha, but Nisha going to look to retreat. But they say that, Nisha just moving right back in onto the creep wave. And everyone does survive for now, but you don't have Primal split up, so it seems like Liquid want to try and force the fight. Rupture was committed onto Maureen in the mid lane. Meanwhile, ATF top lane. Action all across the map. Skitter in the mid lane has gone down. In the Radiant base, Liquid, they're just moving in. Skitter, he'll BKB up, but look at the damage! Micke, he'll just keep going and Skitter trying to survive. The best he can is gone. He is down. It's Liquid continuing. ATF being body blocked by boxi. Just cannot make it out. He is finally down.
Still there.
And Liquid, GG is called.
Oh my
GG is called. Liquid have done it. Falcons, they will have to leave earlier than they anticipated, but for Team Liquid, they will be moving through the lower bracket and they have secured themselves at minimum top 6.
What a spectacular fashion for Team Liquid to get that done as well. A lot of back and forth in that draft. You know, the bloodseeker pick working out well at Falcons. You know, they go back to some of that comfort, right? They bring out the crit weaver. They've got that aggression early. They've got Skitter on the Wraith King, and feels like they've got some answers, but it's Liquid that, again, hold out, just allow that pace of the game to come around and just get that build up even better. They hit that critical mass with a Bloodstone up. They get this really strong combination for me.